Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Grad series where we talk about how you can apply for your master's or PhD program all over the world. With me here, I have Mr. Peter Isesele. I think I got that right.
That's very correct.
So, can you tell us a bit about yourself, like your academic journey and any other thing you think the audience would like to know about you?
I'll be very brief because there are some other conversations that we have. So like you said, my name is Peter Isesele. I'm from Nigeria. So I did my bachelor's degree at Ambrosale University and in Nigeria. And after that, I came to Canada for my master's at Memorial University. And then I completed that in 2019. And then currently now I'm doing PhD in human nutrition at the University of Alberta.
Oh, fantastic. So can you tell us more about what did you study in your undergraduate days at Ambrose Ali University?
So I did a 4-year course in biochemistry, and that was in the Faculty of Natural Sciences. But I know now they split it into Faculty of Life and Biological Sciences. So more of the biological sciences then.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. So now let's backtrack a bit. You said that you did your master's in Memorial University in
That's
Canada,
correct.
and
That's correct.
currently you are enrolled in a PhD program at the University of Alberta, right?
That's right. That's right.
Okay. So now let's backtrack. While you were in the university, uh, was it ever your dream, at one time or the other, that you thought to yourself, oh, Peter, I see myself in the next 5 years, maybe in Canada, in the United States, or, just pursuing graduate program outside? Was there any time like that you actually thought about something like that?
Yeah, so I was very opportune to have my professor then when I was in my biochemistry. So
Mhm.
he did his PhD with scholarship in Germany, University of Bonn, precisely.
Okay.
So we could see the difference between him that did a graduate program in abroad as
Mhm.
compared to other professors that did maybe their masters or their PhD in Nigeria. There was a
Mhm.
difference, the mindset was a bit very different. So I thought, okay, it would be very interesting for me to have this kind of exposure. So that
Mhm.
was one of the things that that got me started thinking about traveling abroad. And then secondly, when I was in after my first year, my
Mhm.
result was really very good. So I was like I had the best result in the faculty,
Okay.
in 100 level. So I started getting some insight and some talk that, oh, with this kind of result, you could, get scholarship abroad.
Oh,
So people
wonderful.
started talking to me that, oh, if you can maintain this and you graduate very well,
Mm-hmm.
you actually be able to. I remember specifically one of my friend, she's a medical doctor.
Mm-hmm.
She just mentioned if you maintain this grade, you can actually get a scholarship. So I started thinking about it,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't really decide where until later on.
Oh, okay. So very good. So now the next question is, why did you decide to pursue your master's program in Canada?
Okay, so during my 4th year,
Mm-hmm.
I did some, like I mentioned, I did biochemistry, and I
Mm-hmm.
was really very interested in doing. I loved nutrition. I
Mm-hmm.
took a course in my 4th year. I took a course in pharmacology, clinical biochemistry, food and nutrition, and then nutritional biochemistry,
Mm-hmm.
and the professor that taught us nutritional biochemistry, I loved his profile. He was working with WHO and some
Mm-hmm.
of these very prominent health agencies
Mm-hmm.
that we have in Nigeria. So I really loved his style. And when I looked at what he did, he did human nutrition in his master's and in his PhD.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, so if I really want to pursue this path, I really love nutrition. So I will be thinking about nutrition. Then I started thinking about which school offer nutrition. I didn't actually start with Canada.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about Canada and how it works. I was mostly focused in the UK because I was thinking if I can get the Commonwealth Scholarship or the Cheveney Scholarship. So I did apply for those. I didn't get it, unfortunately. So I was thinking about US a little bit. I attended one of their seminar in this education USA in their embassy. Someone invited me to it, and then a friend of mine now told me about Canada. Oh, do you know that you can get a professor and get funded? I was like, wow, I didn't know that, right? And this was my friend that we graduated together. She was already pursuing her. So he was already pursuing his getting a supervisor and all that. So then I just decided, okay, let me pursue this path. So when I saw that it's possible to get funding, use the research program, my result is good. So I started thinking about Canada, and then I started looking for schools that offer nutrition for masters.
Oh, fantastic. So the next question is, let's assume I am a naive person, I do not know anything as regards Canada, and I intend to apply to a university for, graduate studies, whether it's a master's program or a PhD. So what would you say I should arm myself with? What are the required documents that's first and foremost I should have with me before I even think of proceeding with this line of action?
Yeah, so one of the very important things to make sure you have is, your B.Sc certificate. Is very important. Though some schools will allow you to use like your statement of result, that you get. Then when they give you admission, they will ask you to submit your original certificate. But it's very good to have it upfront. And then another thing you need to have is your transcript. So you need to have, an unofficial transcript. I know a lot of people usually say, it's difficult to get transcript by hand. Schools will prefer to send it to whatever school you are applying to. One trick I can give to you, it's not illegal to do. And what I do, it's you can just apply for the transcript and then apply. Maybe you're working in a company. Just apply and then put your company, address. It's like your company is trying to get to know more about your academic performance. Maybe they want to sponsor you for scholarship. Then when it comes to your company, you pick it up and then, at least you have your unofficial, transcript. So those two are really, really very crucial. And then you need to have your CV ready, because some schools might ask you to upload your CV, but it's good to have your CV. I think those three are the very crucial things that you need to have to even think of getting started. Yeah.
Okay. So do they also require like IELTS, TOEFL, sometimes GRE or GMAT or
Yeah, so it depends on the course that you want to apply for. So I will speak with them. I think I get this question a lot. So with IELTS exam, if you schooled in Nigeria and your study was done in English, I'm speaking specifically now for master's or PhD, Nigeria is exempted from writing the IELTS test in Canada. So
is it in all universities or just some universities?
So for the most part, like 95% of the time, the Nigerians are exempted from, even like me, I even University of Alberta, they didn't require it. Memorial University, you just need to get a letter to state that you studied in English. However, there are some people still write like TOEFL, and especially those that are applying for a course-based masters.
Oh,
So I know of a friend that was applying for chemistry.
mm-hmm.
They did not require it, but he wrote it anyway. The advantage of that is when you are at it, maybe there are a lot of applications and then you are tied up, maybe you are ranked the same. So just that additional TOEFL that you write is enough to give you an edge over someone that you ranked the same, but it's not mandatory to write. And then for the GRE, it depends on what you are applying for. Some chemistry, some courses, some schools for chemistry for masters or PhD, or maybe physics or engineering, some will say write GRE. But you have to check the school's website. It might be compulsory, it might not be. So you have to check the school's website to know if they stated, for GRE. For GMAT, if you're applying for business administration or accounting or finance, GMAT is is compulsory, to write GMAT. So you need to know what exactly the course you want to do. And then once you begin to do your research, you will see what they require.
Oh, wonderful. So now let's talk about you. I know that you got a fully funded, that's right, master's program, that's to study your master's in Canada. So tell us the story. How did it go about? Of course, I know I asked earlier on why Canada, but now just go into details how you came about this. What were like the timelines? How did you apply? How did you contact the professor? And so many other things that came into play during this period before you got, the scholarship.
Well, my story is a very unique one and full of a lot of setbacks and a lot of points I almost told myself I'm not doing again. I almost quit. So because so when I met up my friend that talked about, you can get a professor. So I didn't know. So I first applied to University of Ottawa. I just submitted the application. I didn't even know that you had to get supervisor.
Oh, okay.
So I submitted and then it's like, your results is fantastic. Your profile is nice, but you need to secure a supervisor for us to move to the next step of admission. I sent emails. I was tired of sending emails. At some point I was doing cold calling. Call them directly. Like, I saw your profile. I was just thinking if you're accepting, because I would spend like maybe a couple of days composing email and then send that email and then get no response. So once I just call you directly and ask you, and they will say, I don't have funding. I don't waste my time. But that method, even though I did it, because I'm here now, I know they don't really love it because they are very busy. So they might not even have more than 2 minutes to talk with you.
Oh.
So you understand? So I would say email is usually the very best option. So I was sending emails, no response. I kept sending, just kept sending until one time I stumbled upon a position in a professor's professor. Then I called him actually. I wanted to establish a connection. Like Professor Days, I saw that in your website that you advertise this position. Is this still available? He said yes, if I meet the requirement. Then I sent him an email and then mentioned that I called you previously and you said I should send an email. And then I sent it to him and then he reviewed it. But later he said that position had been allocated to another student. That funding has been allocated to another professor. I think the department gave that funding out. But God will have it, he sent my documents to that professor in the same department, because he was telling the professor, I already know someone from Nigeria who meet all of these criteria, so you don't need to be searching for students. Right? So that professor now contacted me and then asked me if I'm interested to work with her on this fully funded project. And I was like, wow. this is what I've been looking for. Now it's coming to me, and it's actually the project that I loved. I was like, right away. And it's okay. We set up an interview. Then he interviewed me. Then he was like, okay, submit that. As at that time, the deadline has already passed for application. He said, don't worry, just apply. So I submitted the application. That was in March. I got the admission. And then initially I applied for September.
Okay.
But when the admission came in, it came for May. And this was already like, first week of April. I had to resume the following month.
Wow.
So I was trying to let her to defer the admission to September, But she said, don't worry, I should just apply for the visa. And then I just applied for the visa, and then, I got it. And then, it came in about, a month, 2 months, everything just played out, magically and all that. So the project was, it's a project I had to go and learn.
Oh, okay.
Right? So it doesn't mean that, determine the project, but it was something I had a little bit, maybe I would say like 5% of knowledge. So when I got there, I have to start learning about the project.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah. So what would you say are the key skills, that potential supervisors actually look out for in applicants when they are sending in like their resume, asking that, can you supervise me? Do you have funding? What do you think is the requisite skills that they are actually looking for?
So number one thing is that the professors are looking at, they will check your transcript to see that you actually you have the requisite background. For example, my lab for my master's was a lipid biochemistry and nutrition lab. So she checked my transcript to see that if I've done anything on lipid or nutrition. So she saw that I did a course in nutrition, I had A. I did a course in lipid biochemistry, I had A. She was like, okay, that's good. Then she checked that I did a statistics course because masters involve a lot of statistics. So she saw that I did that. And then she also commented on, that this general studies, this conflict resolution. She's like, okay, means that, when an issue comes up in the lab, you're able to, yes, you're able to handle things like that. So that's first part. And then the second part, they want to see your willingness to learn. I've heard people saying, I don't have research experience. Can I apply for masters? Yes. Apart from my research project that I did, I've not done any other research before I applied for my master's.
Wow.
But you should be able to demonstrate theoretical knowledge of the research. For example, maybe some of the techniques they use in the lab. For example, they were mentioning they use gas chromatography, electrophoresis. I told her, well, I have theoretical knowledge of all these things. I can explain how the machine works because we were taught, but I've not actually handled the machine. So I'll be willing to learn. So you have to demonstrate that, okay, about, there's something you can actually read about, so that you can have conversation about it. Then you have to tell them that you're willing and open to learn. And they are going to teach you. No professor will allow you to touch a machine that you have not been trained to operate.
Okay.
Yeah.